Welcome to phase 8 of the van build. This was definitely one of the most kind of dreaded portions of the entire van build for me because I know literally nothing about electrical. So in this video, I'm going to show you how we went about installing our 12-volt electrical system. I was super fortunate to have the help from my friend Darren. It took us about 9 days total to get the whole electrical system put together. Darren came out and camped out in our driveway, and so I was working, surfing, and working on electrical in the free time.
Kind of the opposite.
Good.
Nope, before my time.
I can't imagine myself explaining this on the vlog. Here's a diagram of the electrical system that Darren drew. It basically shows all the different parts of everything and all the components we put together. We used a DC-DC charger that connected our 100-watt solar panel that we had just installed on the roof. We were able to place a thick gauge wire through the firewall and connect it to the starter battery, and so that came through and connected to our Renogy house battery, which was 100 amp hour battery. While we drive, that starter battery is going to charge the house battery, and then the solar panel while we're parked will provide a trickle charge. Then we had a breaker box. I used Blue Sea components and Renogy were the main ones I used, and all of the light fuses, the Dometic fridge that we installed, and everything goes into that breaker box. And then we installed the inverter, and the inverter was also from Renogy. And the inverter allows us to charge 125 volt power, like a computer, anything with a normal house plug. So that's what we can charge that off of. We did cut all of our own wires, crimped our own lugs, heat wrapped all of the wires as well. So it was a lot of learning for me. Oh, look at it go. All right, so this is my homie Darren, and he's been helping me with the brains of the electrical. He's been the mastermind behind it all. I definitely couldn't have done it without his help. I was basically there assisting the whole time. So he's gonna give you a rundown on everything we've installed now that we're pretty much done. So stoked.
All right, so I guess we should start with the main source of the power for the house area. This is usually referred to as a house battery, and it's just an extra battery aside from your starter battery that holds a charge. You can actually monitor the status of it via Bluetooth, so that's pretty handy. We're snaking the positive and negative leads up here. We've got the positive lead going into a 100 amp breaker, and that feeds this this safety hub, which is basically like a positive and negative bus bar pair. Inside here we have some AMI type fuses. We are then feeding down into the inverter for one, which is underneath here. Also into the DCC 30S, which is both a solar controller and a DC to DC charger. So this will actually take charge from the starter battery through this cable right here, and it transfers up to 30 amps directly to this battery. So it's a really efficient way to charge your house battery from your starter battery or alternator when you're heading down the road. We also hooked up the solar panel on top of the cargo carrier, and we've run the wires down through a grommet here all the way around. We're running that first to a fuse and then up here to the solar controller. Basically what else comes off of this hub right here are all of the smaller amperage 12 volt connections. So for instance, we've already hooked up her fan. We can just pop that up and then press this button.
Woo!
And the fan comes on. I should mention that all of this is grounded as well to the chassis right here.
So in order to charge the house battery that we have in there, we also hooked it up to the starter battery in the car. And we did that by installing this fuse right here that connects to the positive terminal on the starter battery. We have a 40 amp fuse, a 6 gauge wire running to the fuse, and then a 0 gauge wire running through the firewall through a rubber grommet that we found. We weren't sure how to do that from the get-go, but we did find it. So this is how we hooked it up right here to this. And this is the alternator connection. And it pops out right up under near the brake. There was a rubber, what would you call that, grommet seal?
Yeah.
That we cut a hole in, and then the wire, we're running this wire all through here, and we just zip tied it so it's out of the way of the pedals. And it basically runs along to where the house battery is.
Right into the DC charger.
Yeah. So again, so stoked that Darren was able to help me with this. I feel like I've learned a lot about my whole system, and now I know what everything is. If you have any questions on putting your electrical together for vans, etc., Darren's info is linked down below, so be sure to hit him up if you have any electrical questions for your van. 12 volt.
Just to reiterate, I'm not an electrician, but I've had quite a bit of experience doing this in my own van, Gianna's van, and a couple of other friends' vans, so feel free to hit me up. Thanks.
All right, so you can see that that's a lot of wires and kind of a lot going on for my little Ram Promaster City van, but all in all, I'm super happy with it because I can charge computers, I can charge my phone, I can plug in anything I want, plus I have a fridge. So yeah, I guess next up is the final carpentry build. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe to my channel if you want to keep following along on my van build. Okay, bye.